Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem HaRachakodash. Send double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So I got a few clips to play. They're all surrounding the same topic, which is leading up to today's news where Trump came out and said that he will deploy the National Guard to Chicago because there's been some back and forth because Trump says that statistically it's a dangerous city. It's been more dangerous than ever. But you have the mayor who says that actually, if you look at the numbers, the crime is actually down since like last year. And as we've said, just like in DC, when Trump put out the orders to have DC quote unquote under control, you had the people of DC speaking out and saying that these riots and these gangs that Trump is talking about, they don't exist. It's everyday business over there in DC. And what we said was Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care if he says something, if he says the city is dangerous or going over there is terrible, it's riots, looters, and all this other stuff. But you have the actual people who say, hey, it's actually not true. So these news articles are lying. In the end, if you prove him wrong, he's not going to care. As he put here in his speech today, he says, we're going to do it anyway. So like we've been saying, okay, what the devil does is he has a plan. He has a plan. He wants to execute that plan. He will execute it by means of deception. And if that fails, then he's just going to use the sword. But what you people need to understand is, you believers, is that it's no longer about statistics. It's no longer about truth. It's about the desire of the wicked, and he will do what it takes to achieve that desire. And that leads to complete control. Don't fall for the false speech that these Americans are falling for, like, oh, he wants to keep the country safe and that he cares about your health. All those are lies. Those are just the disguise so that they can establish the order and the law for complete control, because this is all biblically prophesied. And I'll show you a few clips I watched today, some videos I watched, and they're speaking about the same thing. Everybody's acknowledging that this is just how the society operates.
Is Milwaukee a super safe city right now? It's had some crime problems. Why is it that you have mayors and governors who are angrier about Donald Trump offering to help them than they are about the fact that their own residents are being carjacked and murdered in the streets? It doesn't make an ounce of sense.
Yeah, I know that the vice president had remarks about me and about Milwaukee. I think it'd be useful for the vice president to take a peek at Milwaukee's record on crime since I've been mayor. In full transparency, there is a slight uptick in homicides, but crime overall is down in Milwaukee since I've been mayor. And that's the case in many cities across the United States. As far as National Guard deployment, I mean, you can look at what the morale has been for National Guard members who've been deployed from other states to our nation's capital. And from what I'm understanding, they're picking up trash on the National Mall. Right? The morale is very low, and I don't want that to happen. We have worked with the federal government.
So, as we said, Milwaukee's so dangerous, we're going to send the troops. And the mayor is saying, well, actually, the crime has been down. I mean, there's always going to be crime, but it's been low since I've been in the office. And the devil is just going to say, oh, why are you refusing help? You're refusing help. We're going to send them anyway. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is they're going to send them anyway. It does not matter what he said. It doesn't matter if it's the truth or not. So even like Chicago, which I'm going to read, even though Chicago, statistically, the crime is much lower, according to how it was been, Trump says, what, we're going to do it anyway. And he's just going to call all the mayors incompetent. He's going to call all these mayors and leaders incompetent because they'll say, look, we don't want a National Guard. And he's going to say, oh, you're incompetent. It's about keeping the city safe. Bada bing, bang, boom. So that he can establish the police state over all the cities in all the states. He started with the major cities. So he started in his own backyard, DC, and then in Chicago, then after that, New York, and then he's going to spread it. He says it out of his own mouth. What you just need to understand is that this is biblical prophecy. it's already prophesied and the prophets already envisioned and saw this place being under a police state, right? But don't listen to the lies, because he's not worrying about statistics. They don't care about that stuff anymore. They don't. They got a goal and they want to achieve that goal. So to achieve that goal, they will create the demand, so to speak. They want it to be a thing, but if it's not a thing, guess what? They got to create it. So they will cause the chaos if need be to initiate the plan and agenda. That's what this is all about. I saw this video earlier today. It's called "This is not meant for human consumption," which he was just talking about junk food, but he makes a point about the meat, and it all lines up with what you just heard the gates of hell just say the other day regarding cows.
All right, the next one is plant-based meats, okay? These are what's called clean meats, which they're anything but clean. Plant-based meats, you're using all sorts of similar chemicals and hidden junk food and sugars, just like any of the ultra-processed foods that you would see at the grocery store. And one big thing that they'll do is they'll use a very inexpensive protein, soy protein isolate. This is a very highly industrial processed, ultra-processed protein that has virtually no flavor. But there's a lot of marketing to get you to eat plant-based everything. But again, you're not going to see a push to eat actual plants because there's not much profit in actual green plants that are grown in soil. I want to touch on lab-based meats. To my knowledge, they're not out yet. They're coming out, and it's not going to be a vegan product because they're going to have to use cells from an unborn cow's fetus. And then they're going to extract that and put it in a huge container and try to get it to reproduce. And apparently these cells are immortal. Okay, they can live on forever, very similar to cancer. But presently, it's very expensive. They have not figured out a way to reduce the cost. What they're doing now to create this demand is to try to wipe out or give actual beef a black eye. Thus the attack against red meat and cows and these farmers. But I think the next one,
So like he mentioned, those lab-grown meats, they want those to be a thing. So they're going to create the demand. How are they going to create the demand? Well, you just heard what the gates of hell just said. He said that the problem with cows is two things have to happen. They either have to be fixed because, the Lord didn't make them right. They have to be fixed because they burp and fart methane that's dangerous to the planet. So either they be fixed, aka GMOs via vaccines, etc., or they get done away with. That's out of his own mouth. He says, or we make meat without cows, meaning you do away with cows altogether. That's what he said. But how is he going to make that a thing? He has to create the demand. So to create the demand, they come with the guise of humanitarian aid, world, global health, and whatever they call it, global warming. Well, to stop all that, it's always the disguise of we're trying to save the planet and save the world, but really they just want control. They want control over your food. They want control over what you eat. But they know, like even this gentleman said, they can't get anything from you by pushing to tell you to eat natural herbs and natural plants that you can grow in your backyard, and cows are fine because they've been here since the earth was created, and that everybody can make it. They're like, no, we want to control that. So we're going to create a problem. That problem is going to be the cows, and we're going to do away with the cows so that we can push lab grown meats. Because if you put lab grown meat on the shelf and label it lab grown meat next to the, Angus beef 100%, people will always go for the Angus beef 100%. They're not going to go for that lab grown. So what does the devil say? Well, then we'll just get rid of it and make you eat these things. This is what they're doing. Same with the martial law, the truce. They don't. Crime is terrible. Wait a minute, crime is actually low. Since last year, it's actually low than it's never been. So we've actually been to do a good job. I don't care. I'm gonna bring the troops anyway, and if need be, I will create the chaos. So let me play one more clip. So the point is, once this devil starts talking, especially now in 2025, when he says that they're going to do something, they no longer need an actual reason to do it. They're just going to do it. They're going to say, they can pull up statistics and say that any city is crime ridden. They can pull up any kind of statistics and speak it and magnify it and make it just seem so bad about how dangerous the city is, when actuality is no dangerous than any other city or any other place in the world. But the goal is to get police state across the board. So in order to do that, he just can't send them out, right? He needs an excuse. Oh, we're trying to save the place. The country is dangerous. We need to save and protect it. But like we said, man, it's not about it anymore. He's just going to bring it out there because he wants to bring the troops. So when you hear other people speaking about how it's really not the case, they're just making stuff up, you should know that, okay, according to the scriptures, the prophets already visioned it. Esau's skirt has been uplifted. The wicked's plan, his left hand, has been revealed via the Holy Spirit. So we know that it's not about statistics. We know that when he says that he's coming to, save the planet or to protect us or to try to, save your families and all that other stuff, we know, no, he's coming with the snare. So you got to know what the devil is up to. Otherwise, you're going to actually believe this man. And then next thing you know, you're going to be taking the microchip, because when he introduced the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, this is going to be his new way of saying that this is the new way of living and you need to be okay with that. And if you haven't been prepared and you haven't been watching this devil and understand that he speaks with a forked tongue, then that day is going to take you as a thief, and you're not going to know what to do, because you thought this whole time he actually was trying to save you and protect you, and that he wanted to save lives, etc. So this is it's a documentary called Zeitgeist Moving Forward. Okay, and this brother gets down.
And hence boasted by economists as a rise in their country's standard of living. But wait a minute, what do healthcare services actually represent? Well, sick and dying people. That's right, the more unhealthy people there are in America, the better the economy. Now, that is not an exaggeration or a cynical perspective. In fact, if we step back far enough, you will realize that the GDP not only doesn't reflect real public or social health on any tangible level, it is, in fact, mostly a measure of industrial inefficiency and social degradation. And the more you see it rise, the worse things are becoming with respect to personal, social, and environmental integrity.
You have to create problems to create profit. There is no profit under the current paradigm in saving lives, putting balance on this planet, having justice and peace or anything else. There's just no profit there. There's an old saying, pass a law, create a business. Whether you're creating a business for a lawyer or whatever. So, crime does create business, just like destruction creates business in Haiti. We have now roughly 2 million people incarcerated in this country, and of those, many of them are in prisons run by private corporations, Corrections Corporation of America, Wackenhut, who trade their stock on Wall Street based upon how many people are in jail. Now that's sickness. But that is a reflection of what this economic paradigm calls for.
So what exactly does this economic paradigm?
You see, so as I explained, right, this whole society is all based, we all know it, right? There's no profit in people being healed. As they say, a patient cured is a customer lost. We already know this is how the society is, right? The motivation of these devils is what they do is they create problems. They have a goal in mind, so they will create the problem for profit and control. That's what this is about. Okay. GMO seeds and GMO foods was created for control. Lab grown meats, they're trying to push that for what? Control. And what are they going to do? Target cows. Cows have to cows are a problem. They got to go. We're going to swap this out for these lab grown meats, and we're going to create a demand for it. And we're going to say cows are cancerous, and this red meat is just really bad. And this is an alternative, safe method for the health in the world. This is how the devil speaks. He speaks with a forked tongue. Psalms chapter 10, verse, and we're going to get what Trump says. Psalms chapter 10, verse 3. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covetous, whom the Lord Yahweh abhorreth. What is his heart's desire? Control over the whole earth and over you. That's what this is about. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. So this article put up today, Trump says we're going to do it anyway. Trump says he intends to deploy the National Guard to Chicago. So if we jump down, I'm just going to go to the point here. He says, Chicago has long struggled with violent crime, but city officials note that the problem is not as severe as Trump portrays. Homicides and shootings have declined this year, putting the city on pace for its lowest homicide rate in half a century, according to police statistics. Still, a violent Labor Day weekend gave Trump an opening. Quote, 2 weeks ago, they had 6 people murdered and 24 people hit by bullets. He said, last week, 7 people died. Over the last 2 days, that was a crown jewel. They had, I guess, 9 or 10 killed and 50 hit with bullets. The president also broadened his criticism to include Baltimore and Los Angeles, both led by Democrats, and suggested that they could be next. Quote, Chicago is the worst and most dangerous city in the world by far, he said in the social media post. Trump pointed to his deployment of National Guard, his deployment of National Guard troops in D.C. as a blueprint for other cities. Quote, I am very proud of Washington. It serves as a template, and we're going to do it elsewhere, he said. That's what this is all about. He started in his backyard, so now he can broaden it to all the states. He wants a police state across all the states. It has nothing to do with stopping crime or protecting cities. It's establishing control when he goes to implement the mark of the beast, right, which is that microchip. Because got news for you, those troops are going to be there to stay for good. Not just till crime gets down. That's what they're going to tell you. It's just till crime gets down. They're going to be there for good. Okay? As the prophet Ezra saw in 2nd Ezra 15, and he wrote it down, verse 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. That's anarchy. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. What's that? That's martial law. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So Ezra saw anarchy, a lawless state. He saw martial law. He saw friends betraying one another for lack of food. Because here's another fact you got to realize. Shortages are created. Truly, if they didn't want to be a shortage, quote unquote shortage, there would never be a shortage. But they can create shortages. Why? To create a demand. And if they create a shortage, they can create discomfort. Through discomfort, they can create chaos. Through chaos, they can bring control. And through the control, they can bring order. And out of that order, it could be control, martial law. Those troops are going to be there to stay. They're not just there for a weekend or for a week. They're there to stay for good. All right, just like they always talked about bringing home them troops from Afghanistan? Whatever happened with that? Whenever they say, oh, it's just for a little bit, just like it was 2 weeks to slow the curve during the pandemic. By now, you should know you shouldn't trust these devils. So when they talk about, oh, we're hitting in Section 8 about the junk food because we're trying to make sure people eat healthy foods, it's not about healthy foods. It's about control. Okay? Because now they're going to introduce wearables on your wrist so they can get you conditioned to having everything monitored and controlled. That's what this is all about, man. Because if they really wanted to tackle health, then there would be no GMO foods. There would be no McDonald's. Okay, there would be no Taco Bell. If they really wanted to, it's a bunch of BS, man. They would promote herbs and fruit with seeds. They would file lawsuits against Monsanto, put executive orders, put an end to that. That's what they would do. And another thing, Monsanto, what did they start with? Oh, we're trying to end world hunger, right? To get laws passed, to get control. But what ended up happening? The seeds, no seeds in them, and you can only buy from them, and you can't. You got to buy from them, and you got to buy the Roundup, all these things. So now they have control of the farmers. You see, this is how they always get their foot in the door, with the deception. They speak with the deception to get their foot in the door, and now they have complete control. That's what Monsanto is about. Not about ending world hunger. You got to know this devil by now. So when he says he's sending the troops to Chicago because it's dangerous, he's coming to just set up the martial law. He ultimately wants martial law across all 50 states. DC was just where his, like he said, blueprint, because he's going to send it to other cities. He really wants it across all 50 states. Why? So that he can have complete control, because they're coming to push the microchip, and they want to already have their image established. The image being the New World Order, which goes back to the Roman Empire system. Today you will call it the New World Order. This is what this is all about. Control. Psalms 12. Help, O Lord Yahweh, for the godly man ceaseth, for the faithful fail from among the children of men. They speak vanity, everyone with his neighbor, with flattering lips, and with a double heart do they speak. The Lord Yahweh shall cut off all flattering lips, and the tongue that speaketh proud things. Here's the point. Who have said, with our tongue we will prevail. Our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us? What's one of the strengths of the devil? Deception. And he says, with our tongue we will prevail. What do we want? Who's going to stop us? I can just say that the city is dangerous and I'm sending troops. And oh, you want to pull up some statistics? Guess what? I don't care. I'm sending them anyway. Oh, cows are such a problem. They gotta go. They breathe and fart methane. So dangerous to the planet. Gotta go. Wait a minute. Those been on the earth since the big world began, and it ain't never been. Guess what? We don't care. We're gonna do it anyway. Oh, the Section 8, we're stopping the foods, the junk food, because we care about your health. What if you care about our health? How is it this is helping? And if you really cared about our health, why don't you get rid of the McDonald's and the GMO foods? Hey, guess what? We don't care. We're gonna do it anyway, and we're gonna push these wearables, because our goal is to send a microchip. So at this point, anytime they speak, you just know that they're full of it, man. It's just a big fat lie. And then when they get called out on it, like what Trump said, we're gonna do it anyway, because he said that's what they say. With our tongue, we will prevail. We will prevail. Our lips are our own. Who is Lord over us? Meaning, who's gonna stop us? Right? 9/11. We say that was an act done by Iraq, and we need to attack, and it was a damn lie. We say Iran has weapons of mass destruction, and if we don't do something, yeah, well, you've been saying that for over 20 some years now. Ain't nothing. Yeah, well, so what? We'll do what we want. We'll say what the hell we want. That's the devil, man. And his strength is being weakened because as the deception fades, he's going to resort to just simply the sword. He's just going to, when all this fails, he's just going to pull out the sword and oppress and suppress. That's why that devil, Benjamin Satan, not a real Jew, said we got to shut down the internet. We got to start censoring, because a lot of people calling us out. We can't have that. So we just going to resort to suppression and oppression. And when all else fails, we're going to pass it into law and say, you can't talk about us. And if you do, we'll arrest you. And they're just going to bring out the sword. This is this loser. He's at his end. You understand? So, it just kills me, because you read the comments and it's, let's go Trump. Chicago needs to be safe. Make our country safe. And those are all old Edomites who have no hope left but to rely on Trump. That's all. This is their last kingdom, and they need the kingdom. This is all they have. So they're going to believe everything that he said. They don't have a choice. But if you're an Israelite, if you're a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, you got no business being involved in this country and actually watching what they're doing. Their goal is to put you in concentration camps under martial law with microchips. They have no intention whatsoever to actually better the country or better your health. They're coming for complete control, man. All right? And they don't care about no statistics. These Americans kill me with the, but wait a minute, it's not really dangerous. He don't give a damn. He wants to set up martial law for their own gain. That's what he wants. And they will do whatever it takes. And this is prophetic, and that's our job. Our job is just to relay to you the understanding of the scriptures. The prophets already saw it. It's going to come to pass. Just don't buy into the lies or the BS, because it don't work on us. He can say whatever he wants. We just know he's coming with the truth. It's going to happen. All right? Shalom.